it's nice to meet you. My name is Jessica, and your name is?
My name is Daniel.
Daniel, hi, it's nice to meet you.
Nice meeting you too.
So, what would you like to talk about today?
Well, I don't know if I want to talk about anything, but I feel I need to talk about something. And while growing up, I grew up in a house where my parents were extremely detached. I didn't grow up in a house where love was visual. My mom and dad seemed like strangers when they're in the same room.
Wow, so you must have felt very alone.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, you feel like everything is fake. You need to be fake to the world. Everything is just not natural. Like when we went to church, they were this happy couple and they would hold hands, and at home this wasn't the case. So yeah, I don't know. And I also feel that my mom was very let's say submissive, and she also just never directly wanted to encounter problems with my father nor us. So we pretty much on her side could do anything. And my father, on the other hand, he was quite abusive.
Verbally so, or more how so?
Emotionally and verbally, yeah. I don't know if he hit my mother or anything. I wouldn't be surprised, but
So I can sense that there's this trust distance between you and your parents because they were putting on this front even in your church, and on your home life you knew it was different, so it's difficult for you to know exactly what all was happening
well, the
because it
thing
felt
is,
like
yeah. Well, the thing is, you you don't know if everybody really is simply living a lie. Isn't everybody like that? Does everybody have multiple faces that he puts on depending on the environment he steps in?
right. So how does this view of the world impact your daily life now?
Well, it has impacted my life in many ways. Some of them it's toward not being like that, and some others is to be able to have different faces when necessary. I could be in great pain and nobody could ever know. I could be smiling and I could be great happiness, but if necessary, I could portray that I'm suffering, and I could detach myself emotionally. Yeah, which I think it's what happens sometimes in my household growing up. They wouldn't face a problem, so some problem will rise up.
So although you want to communicate yourself honestly, you find it difficult to because you're not sure how to do that right now.
I just don't know what you mean with honesty. I mean, that's the point. Does everybody operate this way? Then a sense of honesty doesn't exist. If somebody comes into church and everybody seems happy and nice, is that truth at home?
You keep mentioning church, so I wonder how does this play into your religious views? Does this just trust carry on with whatever faith that your parents introduced to you in your childhood?
As you said, my faith was introduced by my parents, and as many other things perhaps that they thought they should introduce. So I think maybe the relationship is a disclaimer of religion. It's simply a way to understanding that it's a tool that people use to mingle. It's a tool that perhaps is used to manipulate as well. Um, but yeah, the influence that they try to do on me is not the result that I've seen. Best friend of my father just got out of a case in which he confessed of um, been cheating on his wife for 26 years. They have been married 27. So
A long time to be lying to someone.
Mm-hmm.
And so it begs the question: is lying just this natural thing that we all do?
Mm-hmm.
That's,
They were all very churchy guys. My dad and him, they all went and have study Bible groups, and
it seems fraudulent in a way to say, oh, I believe in God and I honor these commandments of God, and yet in your actions, your daily actions, you do the opposite. So how can you relate when it's difficult to know who's saying the truth and who's telling lies?
Mm-hmm. Then maybe just simply a world made of lies or fronts. I mean, at that point, like certain levels of lies become worse than others, but there's some other lies that are necessary evil, or perhaps are necessary good. So I feel I've never addressed that from my upbringings, and I think it's still a case today.
Can you tell me specifically what has been happening? Is there any major event that occurred that made you realize, I haven't addressed this and this is important enough for me to talk about now?
Well, I just remember my father mistreating my sister and actually making me a couple of times wanting me to go drown animals in a pond. And my mother wouldn't do anything about it. And
so
we
you were
only
alone
needed,
in making this really big decision.
well, I love animals, and he wanted me to drown animals in a pond, like to kill them and think for no reason. And he also mistreating my brothers and sisters, and it was, I don't know, and I grew up with that, a sense of fear all the time. Sitting on shells all the time.
Yes.
So yeah, I think that's probably one of the things I can think of. Another thing is sometimes he'll come into my room when I had school, and he'll start clapping. That's the way he will wake me up.
So it was very harsh.
Yeah, clapping and whistling and stuff.
Yes.
So
fear and mistrust is a big highlight in your childhood.
yeah, definitely.
It's very difficult.
It was difficult. I wouldn't say it was very difficult. If you learn his technique, you can use it on your own too.
So do you feel you've adopted this technique?
To a certain degree, yeah, to protect yourself from those like him, you have to play the game like them.
I see. So it's a win or lose situation.
Yeah, it becomes a competition to see how well equipped you are for life out there, and at home too, I guess. Yeah, becomes very winning.
How would you say that you're faring in this game? How well are you doing in this game of life?
How well am I doing in this game of life? I don't think you can measure that. I think it's survival. Am I surviving, or am I being pushed through life? Am I pushing, or am I being pushed?
All right. So in those terms, where would you define yourself?
Right in between, being pushed and pushing.
That's a lot of pressure on you.
Yeah, I guess it is. You learn to live with it though.
I notice when I tend to say something is difficult or hard, you push it off and say, well, no, it's not really so. But yet, I hear in your voice like a lot of harshness from your parents and a lot of difficulty. So I'm just wondering, which one is more accurate?
What do you mean?
Well, is it really when you say, oh, well, it wasn't that difficult, but then when you talk about your past, it sounds pretty difficult. And so I was just wondering, which perception do you most believe in? Which perception of it
Have
is?
you ever tried alligator before?
No.
Can you ever know the taste of alligator without trying it?
No.
Exactly. So I've never seen anything better. I've never seen anything different or worse. So it's okay. It's not. I don't feel as. I think it's the worst thing if I compare myself to others. And I've learned how to play it. So it's not. It wasn't that bad. I could have been better. Yes. Could have that impacted my development. Yes. But when you ask me what's that hard, I would say I don't think it was because probably at the beginning, but when I understood it, then things get easier.
See, so you've learned how to adapt to this lifestyle.
Yeah.
So, at what point did you decide that although you've adapted, there's a particular aspect about my life that needs to be addressed to, maybe to adapt further into it, or did something make you question the way you view life?
Everything makes you question. When you walk life thinking that you could be attacked or that it's unpredictable, you gotta question everything. It's like a jungle. You see, you are the prey or you're the prey. You're one too. You are a hunter or you're the hunted. So you gotta be careful in every single branch you step on because if it's too noisy, it's too loud. It's the last one.
Yeah.
So.
Right, yeah. So I remember you said that you saw yourself in the middle, being pushed and pushing back. So in the hunter and prey analogy, that sounds pretty black and white. It doesn't sound like there's a lot of room for the middle ground. So I'm questioning whether or not you really find yourself in that middle ground.
I guess I do. I guess there's some that are under the food chain, some that are above me in the food chain.
All right.
If that analogy could work. But yeah.
All right. That's making sense. So I would like to know is how do you see yourself dealing with this when, I don't know, making friends or adding a new person into your life? That mistrust is still there, so how do you deal with that?
Well, for my sister's very hard. I think this impacted her in a way that she became reclusive. You know, she was kind of isolated from the world, and when she interacted with others, she would just make friends as well. You know, kind of like be a totally different person. Like she'd be like a chameleon, depending on who she was with. In my case, I am not. I learned them in a different way. You know, I could change my approach of being the same person, but just because I learned how to analyze the hunter or the prey.
I see. So when you're dealing with people, you take a lot of time to analyze what their body language and what they're saying to you, and really determine is this person honest or lying.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. How do you tell me, for example, if I'm being honest or I'm lying? Is that the question? You know, like how can you? You know, and it becomes a difficult question.
Yes.
Or not even just lying, but like how much of you is sincere? You know, how much of you is honest? Mm-hmm.
So, do you tend to stay very guarded when you're talking to people?
No. When I'm talking. If I'm talking, it's because I'm not guarded anymore. But before I start talking, I've done enough analysis that you do.
So it takes you a long time before you'll really open up to anyone. You really want to get to know. You focus more on that other person that you're interacting with rather than engaging in the interaction.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
So, are there any other aspects of what's going on now or in the past that you would like to talk about?
Any other aspects? that I would like to talk about. Well, when I was like um, 13 or so, my parents were fighting a lot and stuff, but one of my brothers died. Yeah, and I also saw that as a big game changer in the family, including me though. You know, people thought that I was supposed to go crazy and sad, and I was, but I didn't show it. Didn't show it to anybody. Nobody knew. People thought I was fine, but I wasn't supposed to, so they were freaking out. I wasn't fine.
Right.
See
You
what I
just
mean?
couldn't show it.
I didn't want to show it. That's what I've learned from the family. You know, you show weakness and they prey on you. That's what my father would do. If you're too weak, you bully you. He's a bully, you know.
Yeah.
So I didn't want to show any weakness. I didn't.
So was that difficult for you to hear other people saying, "Oh, look at him. He's not showing his emotions. He's not
Yeah.
reacting to this." And
Yeah.
you were in pain, and nobody heard you.
Well, I didn't want anybody to know or to hear it. You know, I just wanted to be my own. But people were talking about it, and it became public, and I didn't want that. You know.
They're making your business their business.
Mm-hmm.
So, I'm afraid that's all the time we have for today, but we can carry on with this next session, and it was nice to meet you.
Nice meeting you too.